Hello everyone, very good morning, good afternoon and good evening to all of you. This is your host Vaibhav. Today there is one program going on in my neighborhood. Because of that there is a bit of loud noise. So I hope if it is not bothering you too much, we can go ahead with the stream. And that is one of the main reason why I'm starting late in comparison to our scheduled time. So let's consider what's the price development in today's session so far. Today is Friday. Thank God it's Friday. We will be doing this session just to see a recap of the things which we have seen so far in this week and how these close on the current levels is likely to affect the situation and the possibilities being generated to trade with in today's trading session and also particularly after we come back on Monday. So let us now head to the JForex for the newly released trading platform for the from the Dukascopy Bank SA. Here is a chart for the AUD USD in which you can clearly see that the momentum, particularly the little bit higher, we are likely to see these immediate swing high being breached and a possible move towards 0.666 can be expected. So that is the immediate possibility which we can keep in mind. If we consider these AUD USD chart from the medium term perspective using the hourly candlestick formation, you will notice that we had the AUD/USD in bearish grip for most part of this session. Even in yesterday's session, AUD was one of the most bearish currency, and in today's trading session, the things were not really much different, with the substantial decline pushing it almost 1 percentage point lower. And if we look at these larger time frame picture for this week, the AUD USD didn't really go anywhere. It simply consolidated in the extended range of around 2 percentage point from high to low. The difference is around 2 percentage point. But apart from that, it didn't really have a distinctive strong momentum on either side. Now it is again close to this prior swing low. It is lower than the prior swing low and it is consolidating on these lower levels. So we have in place the formation of a lower low. Now it is going to be interesting to see if the AUD/USD will be forming a lower low in this retracement phase. So that possibility is there. If we have to take a trade in today's trading session, it's going to be a difficult ask because on these current levels there is not much open clarity. The earlier bearish trend is now, at least for the time being, seems to have halted. It is no longer strongly bearish even from the intraday perspective. Of course, you can't really rule out the possibility of move again lower on the lower side happening again in the today's trading session. But since it has been able to hold on to these levels for almost 5 to 6 hours, I think it is likely to end the day above this immediate swing low of 0.6624 with this last couple of hours charting formation of higher highs and higher lows likely to continue with this possibility, as I said in my introductory remark, also likely to take the AUD/USD towards 0.6660. Now, if we compare this bearishness of the AUD to other major currencies, we have the euro also in a bearish grip. It has declined substantially for today's trading session. If we look at its decline from yesterday's highs of above 1.092, it has declined close to 2 percentage point from those highs to the lowest point of the day. And on these lower levels, it has indeed found some support with this charting formation being quite similar to the AUD USD. Only the difference is that for the Euro USD, This decline was rather sharp, and from there on, it has gone into this corrective phase with this price formation being quite similar to the AUD. So there is a similar undertone being observed for both these currencies trading against the US dollar. US dollar has been dominant in today's trading session against most of the major currencies. Maybe the exception is JPY. JPY has been one of the most bullish currency. It has continued to strengthen against almost all the major currencies. So it has been dominating the US dollar, which has been dominating the other major currencies for last two trading sessions, yesterday and today in particular. Now, if we have to look for the trading opportunities on these current levels, it is going to be a bit of an difficult situation because we don't really have much time left in today's trading session. And given the fact that the support has come into play on these lower levels, the immediate outlook is no longer strongly bearish, but we can't really say that it is now time to go long. So because of that, it is a approach where I think sitting on the sidelines is going to be a better idea rather than getting involved for the new trade. So that possibility should be explored, and maybe this is the time to sit out of the market and gear up for the weekend. But of course, we have to do the wrap up and consider the other major currencies. So we have these GBP, NZD, CHF, and CAD. Most of these currencies have been bearish for today's trading session. Now we have to figure out which one is particularly bearish for GBP USD. The decline has been around 100 points, so that is a little less than the 1 percentage point. For the euro, the decline is almost similar magnitude. And also, the charting is not really different, not much different from one another for these major currencies. So, today you have that rare phenomena where most of these instruments have traded in almost similar fashion. There is not much of a difference between these formation of lows and highs. The slight difference is of course going to creep in, and that is where we can figure out which one is the most bullish or bearish of these packs. So let's start doing the comparison. For the GBP USD, the 4 hourly high came in at 16:10 GMT, and for AUD, the 4 hourly high came in at around the same time. For Euro, okay, it is the same time. So we have this identical formation of the swing highs at around the same time. Now let's consider the timing of the swing low. 35 GMT for Euro. For the GBP, it is the same. For AUD also it is the same, so that is going to make our job difficult. But for AUD we saw this again slightly higher formation of the new high, which is not really the case with the Euro and GBP. So on this count, the AUD can be given a slight advantage, but there is not really much of a difference between these three currencies which we have discussed so far. For the NZD, the swing high has come in now, so it is the laggard of all the four major currencies which we have seen so far. And if we look at this decline of the NZD, it declined little less than the 1 percentage point, but earlier in the day, it had also declined during the Asian trading hours. So for NZD also, the day has been of continuous decline, where we saw the NZD USD making these lower lows and lower highs. So for next couple of hours, unless there is any sharp move on the higher side, the momentum is likely to remain sideways with the medium term charting pattern suggesting of the continuation of bearishness. So maybe from Monday onwards, we can start looking for new opportunities on the current levels. New initiation of the trades are not really advisable, but if we consider these NZDs charting, from the medium term perspective, it is still of higher highs and higher lows. So unless we have a break below 0.6166, we can be still hopeful of the continuation of the momentum if we see extended consolidation, particularly after the Monday, start on Monday. If we see that for the Asian trading session and for the European trading session, if the NZD and USD is able to hold well above this prior swing high, then maybe we can even start looking for the opportunities where we can expect the NZD USD to start rising again. So that possibility is there if we consider and compare the NZD USD starting with the other major currencies. There is this difference where the currencies like Euro and even GBP have gone on to make fresh swing lows, but for the NZD, that is not really the case. For GBP, the low this time around is slightly higher compared to the prior swing low. So for GBP also we have the formation of the higher highs and higher lows from the medium term charting pattern. For AUD the difference is there with this formation of new swing low. So AUD becomes the leader of the pack on the bearish side. We have the confirmation in place for the AUD USD from the medium term charting pattern. Also for the euro, the same thing is also there with this swing low being lower than the prior swing low. So we have this AUD and the euro as more bearish in comparison to the GBP and NZD from the medium term charting. Now we will have to invert the scales and consider the currency crosses of USD CAD, USD CHF, and USD JPY. For USD CAD, after making this low in yesterday's trading session, there has been sharp move in today's trading session on the higher side, but it seems to have found the resistance around 1.38, and from there on it has corrected almost 50 pips. So that makes the CAD as the least bearish instrument in comparison to the other major currency crosses, because for other major currencies we haven't really seen this kind of correction from these levels where there was a substantial depreciation earlier in the day, but CAD has found some momentum on the higher side and started to appreciate. So that puts the CAD as the least bearish instrument in comparison to the major currencies, whereas AUD is the most bearish one in today's trading session, also similar to what we saw in yesterday's trading session. For USD CHF, USD CHF, the formation is kind of confusing with this earlier bullish tone changing to now slightly bearish. It is not exactly bearish, but it is more of an sideways with slight bias turning on the bearish side. Let's see what's the story from the medium term perspective. So for USD CHF, it has been making these lower lows and lower highs. So CHF is one of the most bullish currencies trading against the US dollar. It hasn't made any fresh swing high even in today's move of the dollar, where the dollar was on offensive and went on to appreciate against most of the major currencies. The CHF was kind of an exception. It didn't really depreciate much, and when this decline started, it has almost been able to erase all of the gains which took place in the European trading hours. So that makes the CHF lot less bearish in comparison to the other major currencies. It is more in line with the USD CAD. USD CAD has also seen strong appreciation from these higher levels. So if you are looking for the opportunities to go against the trend, then the USD CHF and USD CAD are the instrument to trade with. And if you expect the dollar to remain on the offensive, then the currency crosses like AUD are there to be considered for new trading opportunities. For USD JPY, the formation is now more in favor of the US dollar. The dollar has gained the upper hand. Earlier in the day, the JPY was dominating the proceedings, but then from this 12 GMT onwards, the things seems to have turned, and we have seen the USD JPY starting to make higher highs. So for next couple of hours, we are likely to see this momentum continue to hold well, and unless there is any substantial decline below 130.27, this immediate swing low, we can keep looking for the opportunities to go long with this undertone being now in favor of the US dollar. So the APY is the most bearish currency at the moment, whereas as we saw earlier, the CHF being the strongest one, or you can say least bearish one. It is quite suitable for taking the contra trained trades where you expect the dollar to remain on the defensive side. Then the USD CHF can be considered for initiating the new trades. And if you expect the dollar to remain strong, then USD JPY is one such instrument where you can start looking for buy on dips opportunities. Now, before we wrap up, let's also consider the equity segment. For Dow Jones Industrial Average, we saw these moves of high volatility, but there has not been much of an clarity on the directional side. If we look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average starting for last couple of sessions, it has been making these lower lows and lower highs. In yesterday's session also, I had talked about this possibility, and in today's trading session, after the start of the European trading session, we saw this sharp decline, but that decline didn't really sustain itself, and particularly after the start of the North American session, we have seen this prior decline being erased with these Dow Jones able to climb up and hold about 32,000. But on these current levels, I don't really think that we now have any more opportunities to go long. Maybe we will have to trade cautiously unless there is a clear-cut break above this prior swing high of 32,250, and only if there is a fresh swing high, maybe then we can expect the change to be more durable, and we can start looking for opportunities to buy the Dow Jones Industrial Average. But for the time being, the medium term charting is more suggestive of the continuation of lower lows and lower highs. So we will have to trade cautiously. If we consider the S&P 500, things are not much different. Here, the S&P 500 has started to make these lower lows and lower highs, and it is apparently more bearish than the Dow Jones Industrial Average. In yesterday's session, we had considered all these three equity indices with Nasdaq as the least bearish one. But in today's trading session, things seems to be a bit different with Nasdaq as the most bearish one, S&P 500 following it, and then comes the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So right now, if you want to go short in any equity instrument, then the Nasdaq is a better choice as it has been making these range bound moves with the range of around 1 percentage point, the difference between these highs and lows. So if we see it making a fresh swing low and holding closer to these lows of 12,600 at least for good enough time, an RR so should be good enough. So it should make a fresh swing low and then hold around the low for half an hour or maybe 1 hour, and then we will have further confirmation of a sustained move on the lower side where we can expect the Nasdaq to decline towards 12,500. So that possibility will be there. So, of all the three equity indices, the Nasdaq is the most bearish one, and the Dow is the least bearish one. Looking at its price formation of making these lows and highs, and the medium-term charting formation as well. So that's all from my side for today's trading session. If any of you have any query or any idea to share, do write to me for the feedback, and I would be more than happy to take the discussion forward. Thank you all for joining in. Have a fabulous day ahead, a fabulous weekend. See you on Monday. Goodbye.